Walter Bruce Willis is an American retired actor. His career began on the off-Broadway stage in the 1970s. Bruce Willis, one of the action heroes of the 80s and 90s, announced his retirement from films. Bruce Willis is suffering from a medical condition that is affecting his cognitive abilities and will be taking a break from acting. So in this video, we are going to discuss Bruce Willis's illness. But before starting the video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. Bruce Willis's family, including his wife Emma Heming Willis and ex-wife Demi Moore, announced his condition on Instagram. Recently announced that the action star had been diagnosed with aphasia, a neurological disorder, and would step away from acting. This is a really challenging time for our family, and we are so appreciative of your continued love, compassion, and support, Moore wrote in her post. Aphasia is a condition that robs you of the ability to communicate and can be caused by a stroke, head injury, a brain tumor, or disease. Bruce Willis confirmed his retirement from acting due to aphasia, a degenerative brain disease that affects speech and communication in general. Since then, we had not received any news of the actor, beyond the grief felt by all of his Hollywood colleagues, as well as all critics and fans. This is undoubtedly a great loss for cinema, although Willis can be satisfied as he leaves behind a unique and highly artistic filmography with titles as important as Pulp Fiction, The Sixth Sense, or Armageddon. Willis, 67, is best known for playing John McClane in the Die Hard films, which made him a star. With much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him. His acting career began in the early 1980s, but he did not become a household name until later that decade. First after starring opposite Cybill Shepherd in the ABC TV series Moonlighting, and then in his 1988 performance as John McClane in the first Die Hard film. Since then, his films, including The Sixth Sense, Armageddon, and Pulp Fiction, have grossed more than $5 billion worldwide, according to Variety. He's been nominated for 5 Golden Globes, winning 1 for Moonlighting, and 3 Emmys, winning 2. The mental and physical health of Bruce Willis's wife speaking to The Bump, Willis's wife describes the moment when the actor received a diagnosis that forced him to make the decision to retire as a challenge. I put my family's needs above my own, which I've found doesn't make me any kind of heroine, she says. The model says that caring for both the actor and their children is taking its toll on both her mental and general health. And I wasn't being helpful to anyone in my family. Someone told me not long ago that when you take too close care of someone, you end up not taking care of yourself. That stopped me in my tracks and really made me react, she revealed. As a result, Bruce Willis's wife confesses that she now tries to devote more time to her own basic needs. It's a time when I can switch off and do something that I know makes me feel good in general, she says. She also reveals that she is slowly learning to be a mother and says it is crucial to find something that makes you feel good and build from there. Bruce Willis and Emma Heming have been married since 2009 and have 2 daughters together, Mabel Ray and Evelyn Penn. They tied the knot in a ceremony attended by the actor's ex, Demi Moore, and 10 years later, they renewed their vows in a heartfelt event. Willis has 5 daughters, 3 with Ms. Moore and 2 with Ms. Heming Willis. Tributes from Willis's fans and fellow actors poured in, celebrating an icon of American cinema whose body of work spans more than 40 years. For many, it was their first time hearing about the condition, leaving lots of unanswered questions. What exactly is aphasia? How does it manifest, and is it treatable? Will Willis ever appear on screen again? What is aphasia? Aphasia is a communication disorder that affects someone's ability to speak or understand speech. It also impacts how they understand written words and their ability to read and to write. It is important to note that aphasia can take different forms. Some people with aphasia only have difficulty understanding language, a result of damage to the temporal lobe, which governs how sound and language are processed in the brain. Others only have difficulty with speaking, indicating damage to the frontal lobe. A loss of both speaking and comprehension of language would suggest damage to both the large temporal lobe and frontal lobe. Almost everyone with aphasia struggles when trying to come up with the names of things they know, but can't find the names for. and because of that, they have trouble using words and sentences. It also affects the ability of those with the condition to read and write. What causes aphasia? In most cases, aphasia results from a stroke or hemorrhage in the brain. It can also be caused by damage to the brain from impact injury such as a car accident. Brain tumors can also result in aphasia. There's also a separate form of the condition called primary progressive aphasia. This starts off with mild symptoms but gets worse over time. The medical community doesn't know what causes primary progressive aphasia. We know that it affects the same brain regions as in cases where aphasia results from a stroke or hemorrhage, but the onset of symptoms follow a different trajectory. How is it diagnosed? When people have aphasia after stroke or hemorrhage, the diagnosis is made by a neurologist. In these cases, patients will have displayed a sudden onset of the disorder. There will be a huge drop in their ability to speak or communicate. With primary progressive aphasia, it is harder to diagnose. Unlike in cases of stroke, the onset will be very mild at first. People will slowly forget the names of people or of objects. Similarly, difficulty in understanding what people are saying will be gradual. But it is these changes that trigger diagnosis. Is there a cure? There is no cure for aphasia. Fortunately, traditional treatments for aphasia are proven to be quite effective. Traditional speech-language therapy, which involves one-on-one interaction with a therapist, just practicing and exercising drills every day has been shown to be quite clinically significant in terms of improving outcomes. People who receive therapy go on to lead successful, happy lives. It's a long road to recovery, but the brain, especially after a stroke or a hemorrhage, is quite plastic. Rehabilitation harnesses that plasticity. There's also true in cases of primary progressive aphasia where the condition declines over time. Will we ever see Willis on screen again? I hope so. I think it depends on his comfort with his language and on what type of a role he might want to play. From a personal perspective, and this is my opinion, one of the reasons that aphasia is so poorly understood and so poorly known in the public is because we don't have a spokesperson. We don't have the Michael J. Fox or the Muhammad Ali who's out there saying, this is what this condition is and here's how I'm living successfully with it. I wonder if one of the reasons we haven't had a spokesperson up until now is because there's often some misconceptions about struggles with language, and these struggles are linked to cognition and intellect. I would love to see somebody brave enough to share their experiences of aphasia to the public and hopefully destigmatize it in that way. Thank you guys for watching. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button, and we will see you in the next video.